Aftershock XL. Aftershock XL. Steve Grillo.
Top Shelf Liquor. Top Shelf Liquor.
Each week, the former Howard Stern intern will interview celebrities and its eclectic friends.
Grillo, what's going on out there? You were my number one man. I don't give that role to anybody.
Sharing twisted tales of debauchery.
And I'm just dumbfounded.
This is Aftershock XL.
Wow, happy Saturday, everybody. The music on that is by my very good friend Chris Munger and John Montalbano, My World. The song is called Ron, right after Ron Barber, but no, not really. Hope everybody's having an awesome Saturday. It's 4 o'clock in New York, 1 o'clock here in Los Angeles. And it's another episode of Grillo's Aftershock XL. How's everybody doing? I got a very great guest today. Just wanted to say what's up, everybody. Our guest today is Lahna Turner, and she was married to the very talented, very funny Ralphie May. If everybody remembers Ralphie May, he was a very awesome comedian.
High-end lawyer referral for Ivy, Taber Benedict and Bennett Susser. Sometimes they work for free.
Don't touch buttons when you don't know, when you're by yourself. Unplayed, I played that. So that was an example of the super tip with Tracy. If you want to send a super tip with Tracy's voice, you can do that. Let me get it off the screen. Oh, I can do it like this. So many different things. Web source. Okay. Anyway, as you can tell, we're still learning the new EV-Mux. I learned a lot yesterday. I'm able to create things by myself. And without further ado, let's just get right into it. Everybody, Lahna Turner, that's her real name. Hello, Lahna. Can you hear me?
Hello. Thanks for having me on today.
Yeah, you're a little blurry.
Yeah, can you hear me?
I can hear you fine.
I can hear you. You kind of... Oh.
Yeah, you may want to jump out and jump back in.
You keep freezing. You keep getting stuck.
Okay. Yeah, we just got to wait out the internet lining up.
Oh.
We had some 4 bars there going, and it seemed pretty cool. So.
Yeah. Oh.
Okay. Well, no, we'll push through. So I just met you the other night, Thursday night, with our good friends Wendy Snapple Lady Wendy, and the talented comedian Ant. We had a little dinner together, and I liked the fact that. I don't know anything. I don't know you, and I didn't know. I knew Ralphie as a comedian. I knew people that were friends with him, and I never heard one bad thing about Ralphie at all whatsoever over the years. And I always saw he was. If you were scrolling or whatever, he came up. You had to stop and watch him because he was always funny and he was that captivating. So it was cool for me to go into all this not knowing the side of Ralphie that was there and not knowing you and all the thing, because I thought the documentary was really entertaining yet and informative, because it was, and also emotional and inspiring in a lot of different ways. There was a lot of things that I came out of that watching that documentary, because how did you get so much footage over so many years? That's my first question, because you really chronicled from the time that you guys kind of were dating and met to the point right up into his passing. That's a lot of footage. How did that come about? Was it a production company that invested into his story, or was that you just had somebody with a camera around you all the time?
It's a question that I've been asked a lot, because
Yeah.
it seems like we constantly were followed. But he was actually, so there's 2 things going on with this film. It's a biopic and it's an actual documentary, because Ralphie was filming, like 9 months of his life was recorded at the very end of his life. So we have an actual recorded documentary. It was meant to be a weight loss journey that didn't end as a weight loss journey, sadly. But the early footage was the result of us doing, I got a pilot for Showtime when I first moved to LA. It was about people who lived, worked, or played on the Sunset Strip. So we had a chunk of footage that, the pilot didn't get picked up for Showtime, but I still had a little bit of that footage from that time in our lives. And then many years later, after he did Celebrity Fit Club, VH1 wanted to do a reality show on us, and we did a pilot for them, and I hated that experience, so I'm glad the pilot didn't get picked up. But we had a chunk of footage from that part of our lives as well. So it does feel like we had cameras with us all the time. So yeah.
Why? How did that affect your relationship, like with him and stuff? Because when your life is constantly on camera, I would imagine that you don't have any real moments together, or you always have to be something else all the time when the camera's around.
Well, I mean, it wasn't like that. When we first shot the Showtime one, it was, the guys would come and film for a few hours, and then they would leave, and we were very new in our relationship, at least new at living in LA together. So it wasn't super invasive. They were really good documentarians that really were able to just record moments and then fade into the background. The reality show we did was invasive. I hated that because they were more of the mindset of, we're going to create a scene here because we got to shoot this and leave. And I didn't like that at all. I didn't want to fake a moment. It's just how we're living our lives. So that, I'm glad that never happened. But the actual 9 months of recorded footage, the woman that came was a friend of ours, and it was one camera, and we hired her because it was intended to be this project for Ralphie to lose weight. And so it really wasn't super invasive. It was just our friend with a camera, and I didn't ever feel like I had to be on or off. We just were living our lives, and she was observing it, and it wasn't too bad. Though she did capture moments that I would prefer to be private, but
Yeah, there was one moment that I sort of
it's really
was
important to,
not
to
squirming,
be
but
honest
like
and share what happened.
what's that? Can you good over there, Lana?
Me? Yeah, I can hear you.
Oh, okay. I
Yeah,
know.
I
I
can hear you.
thought the internet is a wacky thing.
Can you hear
It
me?
could be great or it's okay. So yeah. So what
You know what?
I'm,
I see some. By the way, I see some good questions in the feed here that we should circle back on, because somebody asked about Ralphie's tombstone, and I'd imagine that's the first time in the last
Hold
few
on.
weeks of me talking about Ralphie that's come up. So we'll have
Yeah,
to
I
come
can pull
back to
that
that
up.
if you want. I want you to put a note in that for the interview, because I'm sure people in your audience heard things that weren't true, and I really like to have the chance to tell you the true stories.
well, at the end of the documentary, it pretty much answers that question. But
Yeah. But they have to see the film to know what happened. And it's important to note, too, for people who are curious about the film, that there's a co-director. I didn't direct the film exclusively. I had somebody who went through the footage objectively and told the story. So, like, I'm not sugarcoating scenes with me or trying to, like, rewrite any history. I let Ralphie tell his story. So.
well, there was a lot of wonderful moments between you and Ralphie and how you guys fell in love, and then also I thought it was really heartwarming about when you had your children and how much you guys love your children, and how he was like such a fun, goofy father, but he wasn't. He was also teaching them lessons as they went along, and it was really awesome to see that.
Yeah, no, there was some really beautiful moments in the film, right?
Yeah, and your kids definitely got, having two comedians as parents, they definitely adapted your personalities, and it shows. They were like they're quite the characters.
Yeah, no, my kids are amazing, and now they're 16 and 18, and they're
Wow.
yeah. But in the film, they were young. It's taken me a decade to finish this film because it was a lot of work, and I mean, it's a very important story to like tell honestly and we took our time.
I actually chuckled out loud when they were having the blow your nose contest, who had more snot.
Yeah, you know what? People were laughing throughout the whole piece, and you hear people cry, and it's gonna trigger people's emotions for sure. Yeah.
Oh, it did. There was one point where I think it was that point where you found the empty bottle of Oxy in the trailer, and then there was sort of that explosion where the cameras actually left the trailer and your children were in the car, and that was sort of like I was like, oh, that got me. I was like, good. I wanted to be like, get the kids out of there, because I had to deal with that as a child. Not very much, but there was one or two instances where it was sort of an intense moment in a family situation, but and they sort of got all the kids out of the way, so nobody had to really kind of see that. And I was just like, I hated that moment for your children, because it sounded like Ralphie was just really just kind of had snapped at that moment.
Yeah, again, I mean, people have to, that was really, the kids get exposed to things, sadly, and I wish they hadn't been. And that was just one of, sadly, he had substances in him that caused him to do things that maybe he should not have, and the kids should not have been there, and it got recorded on film, and
you kept it in
there.
Well, I understand why you keep it in.
Yeah, it's, my kids have been a part of creating this project as well. They've been in the background, knowing that this film was coming. They've seen the footage. They remember those instances. They remember other ones that weren't recorded, and it makes me really sad. Yeah, it's like a bummer, right? Sorry.
Yeah, no. Listen, the documentary is definitely an emotional roller coaster, because he on stage, I just remember he was just so, he gave off such light, like you wanted to stop and you wanted to listen to him, you wanted to be his friend, and I have a lot of people that were friends with him, and they always said nothing but nice things about him, and he was like he was so much fun to hang out with, and he treated all his friends like he treated them really well.
I'm smiling because the comments are distracting and funny. Some of them are like what a nice thing to bring up. It makes me laugh.
Yeah, I'm trying not to. I told you that it was going to get a little intense with the questions. If they have any questions they want to ask, they could jump on Super Tips, and I'll bring them up. But yeah,
Oh, that's how that works. Okay.
Yeah, well,
okay.
no, these are the free questions, and it's okay that you could address them. But if they want to jump on Super Tips, they can jump on Super Tips, and I'll play the questions. So.
Oh, okay, got it. I didn't know how this.
Yeah,
works.
no,
Okay.
so a lot of these people are here, like they're pretty loyal to me. They come on almost every time I come on, and they're really great. And I throw a lot of them, I'll throw them up and stuff. But in a situation like this, I think it's only fair that the Super Tips are available, and I'll be more than glad to play them with everything. They specifically want to know something about somebody I don't want to mention on my show, so I'm not going to mention it. But if they Super Tip it, I'll mention it.
Okay, all right.
Because they're looking for this whole, it's called the Dabbleverse, and this whole universe, I guess, was created by the hatred for just one person, and I don't like that person at all. But I will gladly Super Tip the questions and mention his name, but I'm not going to do it because I just don't want that person to get the attention. You know what I'm saying?
Oh, so like one person is hated, and like people.
Yeah, it's spawned from the hatred of one person. Can you believe that?
Oh.
So well, I guess you might know him. I don't know if you know him. It's about Stuttering John. Do you know who Stuttering John is?
Yeah.
So he's just he's such not a nice person that these other shows spawned up just to get together to create their hatred for him.
Aww.
But it's gone. Don't feel bad. Okay.
I met him at one point when I was in New York.
Yeah. Was he nice to you?
Yeah.
Of course he was, because you're Ralphie's wife. That's why.
Oh yeah, I don't keep up with the drama, and I also don't often believe anything unless I've experienced it firsthand. Because
of course.
Yeah.
No, I know, but they're about 10,000 strong in the Dabbleverse. So.
Oh, poor guy though.
No, don't feel bad for him. He brought it on himself.
Okay, all right.
He does horrible things to people, and he's really not a good person. But that's for you to have your opinion.
No.
But put it this way: they have a convention every year in Vegas called Hackamania, where people get together just to talk about how much they don't like him.
Oh. Did they stutter through their hatred?
Yeah, right. And so let's get back to the documentary.
Okay, all right, sorry.
That's the real important part of this whole conversation.
Yeah. I just.
So, and Is it going to be in theaters or is it going to be on Netflix? Like, how can people watch this?
Okay, so well, what you saw in Vegas was the one-time screening event. It's going to. I'm flying tomorrow to Houston, so it's going to be Houston on Wednesday, which is where Ralphie and I met, and so we're screening it in individual cities. Then we go to Phoenix. I think I take a few weeks off because my daughter's graduating from high school, going to college, so I'm going to be in town, and then we got Nashville, Milwaukee, and I'm going to just make my way across the country. I want to bring it to different towns. So the idea behind that was that Ralphie, this is all what happened. When Ralphie and I put our wills together, we talked about what we wanted to happen to our remains. And he said to me, I want to have my ashes sprinkled on every comedy stage across the country. Take me out on tour. And I said, Ralph, you're going to end up in the nachos. And I laughed and I said, that's where you belong. But it's pretty gross. And when he passed, his mother wanted to take care of everything to do with his remains and the cemetery because they got a family plot in Clarksville, Arkansas. So of course his mother's going to have his ashes. So he's buried there with our 2 dogs, and that's where we get into the tombstone stuff. But that's just a bunch of drama and a bunch of lies. But so Ralphie went to Arkansas, and I was trying to come up with a way of honoring his wishes, and it occurred to me I can take the film on the road, get some attention for the film, with the hope that it gets picked up by one of the 7 streamers. And Netflix would be great if they take it, but if not, I'm also creating a plan to self-stream, which I can do very easily. And so probably sometime in the fall, late fall, maybe early winter or the beginning of next year, I'll have it up online. But if you're in one of those towns, come, because I'm bringing Ralphie's orange jacket.
I got to wear that, by the way. That was pretty cool. You let me wear that.
Yeah, it's special because you could take a picture with them. I'm bringing the comic book, which I don't think I brought one with me today to show you, but I have the comic book that I did for him that's going to be with me on these events. And I forgot to bring it to Vegas, but my daughter has a book of poetry that she wrote.
Oh, wow.
So, yeah, I'll have to give you one of those when I see you next.
I would love to see that.
Yeah, it's really sweet. Like, because it was like a poetry book about grief, and it's quite special. And so so you can be a part of this tour, and in each town I'm getting a guest to come and speak with me on a panel, or there's might be a town or two that it might just be me and a moderator, but like Houston's, I've already got a really great local comic that knew Ralphie really well, and Outlaw Dave, and I think Kyle Turley, who's a well-known football player who is a dear friend of Ralphie. Sounds like he's going to be meeting up in Nashville. So got really interesting folks coming to talk about Ralphie on the panels. So
that's the way you do it. If you did go and honor the wishes with the ashes and the all the comedy clubs that you could have spread them on, you probably would have made it. Was there a lot of ashes? You probably could have hit Europe too.
That's hilarious. You know what was funny and not so funny, but at his service when we had his urn, and I looked at it and I didn't mean it to be, I mean, people laughed, but I looked at it and I was like, that's the smallest thing that Ralphie ever did was fit into this box. Because I guess when they burn you, most of it we're not that much different. We all end up about the same size at the end.
Oh, really? Okay. So there wasn't extra ashes?
I don't think so. Maybe a little bit. But what was
Sorry.
what I did learn? No, it's funny.
It's a little macabre. I apologize.
No, it's a good thing to talk. It's really funny because when he passed in Vegas and I had zero money and my credit cards were maxed out. The last thing I was able to put on my card literally was his cremation. Like, it maxed out my card, but it costs more money to cremate a larger person than it does because they couldn't fit him in a normal sized urn. And I was so broke. I was like, I mean, he was into barbecuing. Can't we just quarter him and put him in the grill?
I know. I have to admit that kind of went through my mind.
I know. Do we really have to charge more? I mean, he doesn't
care. They just
care.
Make a chainsaw or something.
Yeah. Yeah. Just fit him in the space, but they, yeah.
So he's dead. He don't care.
Right. But I guess that's a cautionary tale too. Like, if you want to fit into the cremation thing, but it was funny. One of his sister, who apparently she not Melanie, the one that's in the phone, but he has another sister. Was disappointed that he was cremated and wanted him buried in a coffin or something. And I was like, oh my, we're gonna have to I mean, he was huge. He was 590 pounds when he died. I
Wow.
was like, how are I have to get like a giant, like, I don't even know. I was like, I could barely afford the cremation, but he wanted to be cremated, so it didn't matter. But like, it was just funny to me of how am I, what kind of flatbed weekend at Bernie's party are we talking about to get him across the country, you know? And I sound very mean, but I was devastated at that time, but it was, yeah.
Well, that's what I was
You
just
gotta
about to
laugh.
ask. I was just about to ask because you really see his deterioration towards the end, and like when I've been in that situation where I had a friend that was sort of not Ralphie's size, but you knew that they were only headed down a one-way path. When when you got the news that Ralphie passed, was it like you were expecting it at some point, or did it just hit you over the head like a bag of rocks?
Well, as Jeff Ross said, like you wouldn't be expecting it, but you kind of thought a guy like him would just go forever. But I knew how sick he was, but it doesn't change the shock of hearing those words, especially from the man who told me. Just that guy. I don't want any spoilers, but
Yeah,
the
there was a
person who
couple
told me-
people. There was a couple of shady people that were around him, and you can really get the. I didn't like them. I'm like, why are they doing this? They were definitely enablers, you know.
Yeah. But you hear in the film. I mean, the first person I called is when that call that you hear is immediately after I found out. That was the first person I called, and so yeah, I was in shock. Yeah, it was really sad. It's
Now,
a bummer.
well, yeah, no, there's nothing fun about that situation at all. Again, I had to deal with it through with a friend, and when you get the phone call, it's definitely, okay, it happened, and then you realize, okay, we knew this was going to happen, but then it's like, oh shit, they're really not here anymore.
Yeah. No, I mean, and then I had to tell, like, when you have to break that news to children, that's the hardest thing I've ever done. I tell jokes, so that's like super
Yeah.
bummer. But yeah, that was
Knock, knock, who's there? Not daddy.
not daddy.
Jesus.
Yeah, he ain't coming back.
Oh, man.
Yeah, so that was the hardest. Those were the hardest things I've ever had to do. And my son was so little, he didn't really even understand. So then I had to like really dig deep and figure out the words to explain it to like a 7-year-old. I was just like, fuck. So, yeah. Sorry, guys.
Yeah, and you talk about that. Well, they both had two different reactions, correct?
My children?
Yeah, did you say like your son didn't cry at first, or?
You know what was okay? So when I found out that this was what was so weird about like the shock of hearing that he had died, I got the phone call and I was driving. I pulled over in a parking lot and I felt completely like zapped. Like, how am I going to drive back home? And my first thought was I need to get to the kids, and then I thought I called a friend of mine and I said, because I didn't want them to see me like, I needed to compose myself. And so I called my friend and she was going to pick up the kids from school for me and bring them home so I could do it at home quietly. But then I got home and I in the shock, this is such a hard story to tell, but my phone started lighting up with people all of a sudden knowing that he had died. And that's when I realized, oh yeah, he's famous. People this is news. Like, it had already started filtering into the world. And so I jumped in my car and got to the school and ran in as the day was ending to get to them before anyone else could get to them. And we pulled them into the principal's office and they helped me. The principal and another educator helped me talk to them about it. And April understood more. August didn't understand. So it took him a couple months to really understand that this person he was never going to physically see his dad. So yeah, that blew. But hey, walk in. Yeah, there you go.
Yeah. Well,
Yeah.
It's a little different than it was when it first happened. I guess it doesn't take away that they're not here and you can't see them anymore. But over time, it does seem to get a little easier.
Yeah. No, I don't know. For them, they're they just miss having their dad. I don't know that ever gets easier for people like you. I guess it just becomes part of your life. You don't have your dad, but they
Yeah.
didn't really have him before he died. So that's the challenging thing for them as well, which you see in the film. But
What was the disconnect like towards the end? Like, because you were sending all those videos about, you know, how much he loves them and he misses them. But and it seemed like, you know, the beginning he was like, I want to be there when the first time they ride their bike, and I want to be there for their first this and that. And then was it the drugs and stuff that pulled him away from everything? Maybe he didn't want to be around them high. Is that what happened? Or because he was so devoted at the beginning of the documentary, and then towards the end he wasn't there. How did that come about?
well, I mean, I wasn't with him when he wasn't there. I don't know. I just know that he was sleeping around the clock, and I'm sure that was opioids or obesity or the combination. And he would come to LA and miss his visitations. He would miss the calls. He just couldn't show up. And so I think that's substance abuse. I mean, I don't think he wanted that. I don't imagine how he could have ever wanted that, but I don't know that was within his, I mean, it was within his control, but also wasn't. So, yeah. I don't know. That's hard for me to answer because I wasn't in his head, right? I don't know what it's like to not show up for my kids. I mean, so stop putting me in timeout.
I'm not working the timeouts. I'm sorry, but maybe you're saying things that are inappropriate. So I can't. That's Voltaire. I'm not putting anybody in timeout. But there are moderators watching the things that you say. So, but you paid $3 to ask the question. You paid $3 to ask the question. So there's your answer.
Aw.
So here's an interesting aspect. So now, after he passed away and you sort of got done with the grief and stuff, did you find that a lot of bigger men, heavier men, found it easier, thinking that maybe, well, if you were with Ralphie, you'd be with me? Like, you get a lot of heavy guys hitting on you now? Like,
No, okay, wait. First, I didn't actually have the ability to grieve until recently. So that took me a long time to find my way through, to even be able to talk about this. Like, it's good that I can now, but it took me years, which is probably a good thing that it took this long to finish the film. But I mean, I don't think I'm like a chubby magnet. Like, I don't think dudes are like, oh yeah, she's my goal or something. Like, right now my demographic is actually like old dudes, or like younger guys, because I'm getting older. So like I get the like, I'm in the wheelhouse of like 70-year-olds and like old dudes that.
oh,
like,
get out of here! No way.
No, that's my wheelhouse now. Those are the guys that, because I'm still like, I'm pretty preserved, but I'm socially acceptable for like old dudes to like. So yeah, I'm their jam. That's where I'm at right now, I think.
Yeah. Wow. Because I thought you looked fantastic. I'm looking at you. You look fantastic. So.
Thank you.
And we got to be, or you definitely look better than me. We got to be close to the same age.
Oh, I
So-
probably.
Yeah. No. So you started out as a stand-up comic, and you guys. So you and Ralphie came up at the same time together, right?
Not exactly. I met Ralphie when I first started comedy. He was already doing stand-up for a good, probably over probably a decade. But nobody knew who he was. He was just very funny, very, very funny, and we became friends.
And you used to open up for him.
Yeah, not at first. I mean, it took and I mean, he wasn't touring in a capacity to bring anybody with him. We did do some shows early on, but generally, like, feature acts with comics that are not, like the headliners, if they have a feature act with them and they're not a famous headliner, they don't have the budget to bring along their feature. But once he was on Last Comic, I did tour with him quite a bit after that, because we had the kids and I was able to go with him on the road. And so we did shows together. But yeah.
Cool.
Did I answer that correctly? I guess I gave like two answers to the same question. So yes, we toured together, but not always.
No, they did play a clip when you did open for him, and you had some jokes about him and stuff. Was he okay with the jokes when you were making fun of him and stuff? I know there was that cheese doing joke. Yeah.
Yeah, he loved it. He would
Oh,
tell.
okay.
So when I would open up for him in front of like the big theaters, he actually insisted that I talk about him.
Okay.
He wanted me to open up the show, talk about him, and he felt like it made it a good introduction between him and me. And then he would go up and make fun of me, and it made it so it became sort of an entire show. And when we had April, our daughter, we would go up. So when I would do my act, talk about him, and then he would walk on stage with her, and we did like a duet together, because I mostly sing songs in my act. So we would sing a duet, and then I would take the baby and we would leave. This was for about the first year of her life, which was, we worked together a lot. And that was one of the best years we had, because he was with her and me. Like, it was very fun. Very, very fun.
You were like the Gracie, was it George Burns and Gracie Allen kind of thing going
I
on.
love that. Yeah, I love George Burns and Gracie Allen. I love it. Yeah. I don't know. We had that little shtick, but
Somebody said that. Yeah, I'm sure you must hear this all the time.
yeah, that's fine.
Uh,
That's fine. See the documentary. That's,
Yeah,
you know,
exactly.
the people who said that were the ones that were using drugs with him at the end of his life. So, you know,
Well-
like you want to, if you think about it logically, just think about it give it 1 minute of actual thought of Ralphie was using substances with the very people who said that stuff. So
Okay.
I think you can draw your own conclusions and sure ask me. I don't, but there's no way that I caused Ralphie's death.
Colin Madden said, "Thank you so much for doing this great interview. I don't know who this is, so I apologize if it's something offensive. I hear Bruce from Def Jam Comedy is single. I don't know what that means."
Because Bruce is fat.
Okay. I don't know.
Ooh.
Well, were there any was there any comics that gave you that wouldn't do it because of how they might have felt with this whole situation? Like,
Who
was
wouldn't do
you have
that?
Jeff Ross, you have Jay Moore, you have the late great oh God, I can't think of his name.
Bob Saget.
Bob Saget. Sorry
Yeah.
about that. Yeah, was there anybody that wouldn't do it?
I asked some comics to try and come in and schedule. Maybe you couldn't get them in. Like, I really wanted Gabriel Iglesias. I really wanted to get Joe Coy, because those were really lovely people that were a part of his life. I think David asked Joey Diaz if he wanted to do an interview, but we honestly, and he didn't want to do it. But the truth is that you can see everything you want to know about their relationship if you just watch their interviews with him.
Okay.
So I didn't feel like he was actually a critical part of Ralphie's story, because unless you wanted to hear more stories about them doing drugs together or Ralphie falling on the floor and Joey laughing at him, I don't actually think that there's a whole lot of meat on that bone, so to speak. But whereas Jeff Ross and Jay Moore, Ralphie
great.
wouldn't be famous if it wasn't for Jay Moore. So I don't think we have a film if we don't have Jay Moore. Jeff Ross also was there to give Ralphie opportunities. So the people that were in the film that actually did do interviews were the most important, because they were the ones that made Ralphie's career, as opposed to pulling Ralphie down, if that makes sense. Like,
Yeah.
Jay Leno gave Ralphie the Tonight Show. That was somebody who was there for Ralphie, as opposed to somebody being like, yeah, I was there for the party, I was there for the drugs, I was there for the food. You get to see those people through the lens of the actual camera doing exactly what they did when they were with him. So I feel very, very good about the people that we got to interview. I think we had the perfect cast for that. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, Jay Moore made me tear up. I can tell you that.
Yeah. Well, because he loved Ralphie, and Jay was there for Ralphie. Like, that's one thing about Ralphie. He was generous and he gave so much to so many people, but the people who gave to him were the ones that were really his true friends in his life, and those are some of the least vocal about him, off camera, like in the world. They're not out there yelling about stories that they had with Ralphie and the time that he did like something that I don't think is particularly flattering, some of those interviews.
Yeah, there's a lot of questions about where and when. You kind of brought that up earlier. Well,
Yeah.
we'll get that at the end, because I still have a couple more things that I wanted to address about the documentary.
Wait, I want to answer that question. Was
Oh,
Jay
okay,
Moore
good.
a druggie?
Okay.
Peter, Jay has had struggles with addiction his entire life. So you're not wrong. I wouldn't, yeah, he's had a struggle. And in fact, his interview that he did was just a few weeks or maybe less than 2 months out of rehab. And as I understand right now, he's been able to stay really sober. He's married to Jeannie Buss, and he's just a light. And so somebody who can also speak to addiction, but also be there for Ralphie. I mean, there's a lot of addiction around all of us. So yeah, but Jay's beautiful, and I don't think we could have done. I mean, he's had his ups and downs. We've all, I've seen him at times when he wasn't at his best, but like I said, he's the reason why you guys know who Ralphie is, like 1,000%.
Somebody anonymous asked this question. You don't have to answer it. Joey C. Said you were emotionally abusive to Ralphie.
I'd like you to tell me how, but I mean, like when, where you heard that from somebody. That was something that somebody said. Like, I was there for Ralphie throughout his life. If you watch the film, that scene that we were talking about earlier, he's quite upset and yelling, but he was on drugs. I don't know why people say that. I loved my husband, but
Well,
I think a lot of people spread those things because they were there for the party and they said that. But Ralphie and I were in a divorce at the end of our lives, but I wasn't abusive to him. He wanted, it was sad.
Well, drugs are a hell of a thing when you are in a relationship with somebody. It brings out different side of them you didn't know. And
Yeah, no, I welcome the opportunity to answer these questions because I know people have said these things, but I see people listened to no. Yeah, no, I don't mind the trolling though because they've trolled me online too, and I've seen and people are going to ask these questions, and clearing them up is great. I think that they should see the film and understand, and they'll see that. And again, I didn't direct the film independently, so the film is not an opportunity for me to clear my name. It just is the story that happened. That's it. I think that, yeah, you're right, and I don't have to defend myself because it's out there. But
yeah,
but I mean, I was with Ralphie for 17 years.
gotcha.
Oh,
Yeah. Well, what's your favorite Ralphie May joke? But I also want to address the people, the handlers that were enabling him. But we'll get to that in a minute. Let's keep it lighthearted. What's your favorite joke? What was the one that made you just laugh always? You never got tired of hearing.
I mean, that's really hard to pick one because he was so damn funny. Like, I fell in love with Ralphie because he was so funny. So like he could say anything and you just be like, he could make you just crack up. But as far as in his act, my favorite part of his act was the first 10 minutes in any town because it was always fresh and different. So we would go to like whatever city and he would start riffing on that town or on something that had happened in that town, and that would always make me laugh so hard because it was fresh and different. And then he would go into his act, and there were bits of his that I liked more than others, but it was, yeah, he was very funny.
So there were people there that you kept in the documentary that were just basically catering to his every need as far as getting him 3 or 4 pizzas at a time, cases of Coke, everything that sort of was not helping him with his health. And they did it seemingly like it was okay. And I was like, how could they do that? And obviously someone must have been getting him the oxys and all the other drugs. It was disturbing that it was okay for it to be going down like that. And they did it in front of the camera.
Yeah.
You know, it's like those are the guys at the end when the credits came up that wouldn't participate in that. Is that correct?
Yeah, they were in the film, but they didn't want to be interviewed. Yeah.
So they obviously must have signed some type of NDA or something. They must have signed some type of contract because you kept them in the film and they weren't able to fight you.
The film has all been legally done, and everything's been permission. So yeah, they're part of the project. They signed on to be part of it.
And
Isn't
you could
that
have kept.
wild?
Sorry. Go ahead.
Oh, I said it's just wild. Yeah, I mean, like we record it. It's just there's a lot of moments that were recorded that are wild in that 9 months. That I mean, and I don't think that they had a problem doing that. So that's why they didn't care to be recorded on camera. It was who they are.
Yeah, and no, you didn't hide it. That's the cool. Well, not the cool thing about it, but you put it out there that this is what these people were doing to him.
And again, I didn't put it out there. I mean, it's in the footage, and David, the editor and director, assembled the timeline. So yeah, it's part of the story. Yeah.
So he, God, this is why I can't look at the fucking. You get distracted with these comments, and all of a sudden I had something I had to say, and now I can't think about it.
He pays his guests. I'm not getting paid. What the heck? Are you gonna pay me? I'm just kidding.
Yeah, I know. The first words out of your mouth, you were like, "Yeah, can I do your show?" I'm like,
I like the comments. I think they're going by so fast, and I'm like, oh,
if you see one that you want to answer, you can answer them if you want. Feel free. I'll pull them back up.
Yeah. No. It's great.
Like,
I don't.
Like Ralphie he took time to answer everybody's tweet.
Yeah, he was. He took time to shake hands with everyone and meet everyone, and I think he loved being in the public eye and loved his. Well, I know he loved his fans. How can you not? Yeah.
Like, coming from someone who just knew him as a stand-up comic, I never really got the sense that he was like a John Belushi or a Chris Farley or an Artie Lang. He had that public persona that, unless you knew him, then you knew his demons, unlike the other three that I just mentioned where their demons were always public.
Well, you did, in the film you saw where he did have some shows that it came out publicly. So it wasn't entirely in the bag, but I think he probably wasn't partying like some of those guys were, right?
I never heard back from that. Like, anybody that I knew that was a comedian never was like, Ralphie May was out of control last night, where you hear that about Artie Lang or Chris Farley.
Yeah.
Did you know Artie Lang at all?
Yeah, I met him. We did a show with him once.
Okay.
Yeah, no, I know he's had his definitely public things. I mean, I think with Ralphie, he would just pass out a lot, like fall asleep and just, yeah, I don't think he was, but I mean, you did see some things behind the scenes that were on camera, so.
It must have been exhausting carrying that weight all around. Like, that's,
So
if you
much.
think about it, if you wear a backpack that has 100 pounds on it, imagine having 5 of those backpacks,
5. Yeah,
Yeah.
I mean, I used to marvel. I'm like, how hard it is just to get up and move across the room. Yeah, I don't know. He was very strong, and when he was younger, he was super strong. He was able to carry that weight. I had no idea how big he was, even because he moved so well, carrying that weight around.
Do you think if all the Ozempic shit that's out now, if he had that available to him 10 years, it would have helped him, or
That's a good question.
What's that?
I think he'd definitely be on Ozempic. I do have to ask whether or not he would eat it on a cracker. He's just like, I'll put that on top of the sundae and eat
Sprinkle
it.
that on 3 of my pizzas.
Yeah, yeah. Because at the end of the day, no matter how much Ozempic or stomach staplings or gastric bypass or whatever you're going to do, you have to figure out why you put on that weight, it's addiction. So there's a core issue there. And unless you deal with those demons, you can inject yourself all day long with Ozempic, but you're still going to have to at some point deal with the problem, because you can't do that forever. It's actually, they don't even know what that's going to do for you in the long term. It's definitely eating your muscle. That's not good. So, yeah, I think it's not actually a good thing. But for people his size, get the weight off you so you can try and save your life. But yeah, no, he would have. He ate around 2 stomach surgeries. I'm pretty sure he would eat around Ozempic too.
Wendy told the story about that you guys went to a steakhouse and you ordered everything on the menu.
Yeah, I don't remember. I do remember him ordering big for parties and people, but he was not a public eater, and he didn't eat a lot around me. So there's that part of the film where he's talking about his eating buddy and how they would wait for, like, I see the comment, how they would wait for me to leave so that they could eat. And I would find evidence of them eating, but it was rare that he would eat things in front of me.
Well, I think with Wendy's story was just more that he was so much fun. It wasn't like about he's going to eat the whole menu. He took a bunch of people out to dinner and just said,
Right.
just give everybody like yo, let's just get the menu, you know?
Yeah.
But you do get into the whole the secret eating and how many pot pies and how many pizzas that he can eat. And that is, I don't know. I'm chubby, but I can't eat that much. I'm chubby for other reasons, lack of exercise and ambition. But I couldn't sit, even if I took the best weed in the world, I couldn't sit and eat a whole pizza by myself, let alone 3.
Yeah, I don't. I mean, yeah, I don't understand it either. But it's addiction. Like,
Yeah.
It's triggering. I learned that you get the same high. A food addict will get the same high from getting their food as somebody doing coke or heroin. It
Sure.
triggers those same receptors in the brain. So, yeah.
So, Anonymous wants to know, was Ralphie kinky in bed?
Yeah, I have a bunch of jokes about it. Like,
Oh,
he'd
yeah?
wanna
Go
be
for
on-
it. Let's hear them.
I'd say things like he'd want to be on top, you know, and I'd be like, I can't breathe, and things like that. I mean, it's weird to do them now, but like, oh, he wanted to do it in the bathtub, but I'd have to be submerged, and he got a snorkel, you know. I'd say you know, they looked like he was raping the sofa. Yeah, those types of things. Like, yeah, but you know, you can't be super kinky when you're that heavy, and it wasn't always. Look, I loved him, and I really was hoping for a healthier relationship at some point sexually, but I never got that. So it was not always the most comfortable thing for me, but I did adore him. And and I liked cuddling with him. He was soft and safe and squishy.
you didn't need a couch.
Oh, but fat men will eat.
What was that?
A fat man will eat.
Oh, yeah, well.
Yeah.
So
there
everybody
you go.
thinks, why I barely get paid myself. I'm going to pay a guest. I'm not Kevin Brennan. I know he has money. He likes to give. I heard he's very generous with his guests. I wish my gift to you is like being able to hopefully get this in every city, in every town, and on every platform.
Yeah.
You know?
No, I mean, everyone who's commenting here, I'm bringing this thing to a bunch of cities. Like, if you're in Houston or you know somebody in Houston, tell them to come and see the film. Hashtag. So the website is comewhatmayfilm.com, and like
Someone-
that's what's that?
Shut that kid up.
Oh,
I don't know. You can hear a kid somewhere. I don't know where the kid is.
Oh, behind me? Oh no! Oh, I was
Yeah.
hoping that you wouldn't hear that. So we were filming this morning in my garage space. Oh, so you can hear them. There's some kids in the swimming pool. I'm at a public, like a private club, but it's public space, and so I'm sorry. I didn't.
No, you can't help it.
I'm
Where are you going to
earbuds.
go out and tell the kid to shut up? I just
Well,
thought it was funny.
there's 4 of them wrestling in the pool, but it's pretty far from me. But I guess they're really loud, and it must be.
Oh, yeah, I thought it was something outside of where I am at.
God!
No,
No,
but
you
it's
paid
okay.
like $3 to tell me to tell some kids to shut up.
No, but it's probably I think it's something that's on my end. At least I know it's your end. I didn't
No,
know
it's
where
my
it was coming
end.
from.
And there's some people playing like pickleball way over there too. So
Okay.
it's yeah,
Yeah,
but I
no.
didn't know if it was noisy. Shut up, kids.
And I didn't. By the way, I didn't mean anything bad towards Kevin Brennan. He doesn't have to pay his guests to come on, but he's nice that he does pay some of his guests when they do come on.
Oh.
So Kevin Brennan's he's another comic that has a show on here on the Dabbleverse, and he definitely has no like for Stuttering John either.
Well, I'm sorry about the background noise, but you know. Well,
I listen. They'll get over it.
yeah.
It's not like they can't hear you.
Okay, good.
So, but well, so you're just doing a city to city tour? Because if you are, make sure that you send me the information so I can share it with everybody.
Okay, yeah. Well, so right now we're just going across the middle of the country, and then the website shows everything that's happening that we have booked right now. But then after that, I'm going to be in Florida. We're going to do Chicago and New York, upstate New York, And
What part
and
of
then
upstate New York?
I'm not sure. Look, maybe Albany.
Okay.
So
I
yeah,
might be able to help you out with some stuff up there.
great. Yeah, and I mean, I kind of want to wind this down at the end of summer, so I'm just going to try and hit as many cities as I can, and then hopefully at the end of that we're streaming somewhere. But yeah, it's nice to be able to honor his wishes, and it's nice to get this film out and get attention for it, because I'm really proud of it. I think well, thank you. I mean, I think you thought it was special, so. Yeah, it's so far we've had 3 big screenings and the reaction's been really wonderful.
Yeah, it was pretty cool. I have another super tip for you.
All right.
Anonymous, Joey Diaz has been very critical of you. Did Ralphie ever discuss Joey's documented and cruel sexual harassment of female comics to you in private?
Well, he didn't have to, because when I first met Joey, I met Joey a couple times before this incident, but we lived in the same building. They used to call it 1440. It was a building on Gardner Street, and Joey would crash on one of the couches. There were different couches in the building because there are a lot of comics that live there. And one time he came into our studio apartment and tried to expose himself to me. He pulled his thing out and yelled at me. I turned around and faced the wall. It had nothing to do with him wanting me to see. It felt like he was just trying to yeah. Anyways, I turned around and faced the wall, and he was laughing and saying, "Look at the Cuban egg roll," which was
What?
Yeah, look at the Cuban egg roll. Come on, look at it. You know you want to see my Cuban egg roll. And I said, "I don't want to see it. Put it away." And I looked at the wall until he put it away and left.
Well, isn't that
Yeah.
what? Oh man, I'm so bad with names these days. Getting old sucks. But you did the show Lucky Louie.
Oh, Louis.
Louis C.K.
Hey.
Like, didn't he get in trouble for that?
Yeah. Oh yeah. I have this thought. Like, I think that there's a certain amount of fame involved in, like, Louis C.K. is like so successful that, like, Joey's the guy who's like, look at my dick, but like Louis is successful enough to like actually like hire people to look at his dick.
Wow.
I don't know. The whole thing is just like, it's a weird kink, right? Like, that's a weird thing. It's got to have something to do with. But you know what's interesting about Louis C.K.? If you watch the first season of Lucky Louie, the very first one, there was two shots at it. I think the first one was on Showtime.
Yeah,
He
it was.
exposes himself. You see his dick on. He puts it out on national television. Everybody got to see it. He runs across stage naked. I know at least once. Maybe it was in the finale of the episode. So we've all. If you were watching that season, we all saw Louis' dick. Like, that was just forced upon the whole world. I don't think, yeah. But yeah, that's that. As far as Joey goes, Ralphie and Joey likes to tell these stories about how they were such good friends. But, I mean, he was always around. We were always generous. I gave him his baby crib. I gave him a bunch of clothing for his baby when she first arrived. I always had a soft spot for him because... I guess I should say soft spot, but because he lived in the building and he just seemed like an underdog, and despite what he did with that day with flashing himself at me, I didn't turn around. He never took my power, so he was just always around. But they weren't like great friends that I paid attention to until the very, very end of Ralphie's life, and they did a bunch of interviews, and I guess I don't know. I don't get it. I just didn't get it, but.
Well, Terry wants to know if I have a shot or am I too greasy?
Oh,
I know you got a boyfriend, so don't, yeah.
I do. I have a boyfriend. He's not fat. He's of average weight.
He's not greasy.
Not greasy. Just a nice guy who has helped me raise the kids, and just a lovely person. Very
Good for you.
technically nerdy. Yeah. Sorry.
But, I know, it's okay. You seem very happy, and I think you deserve to be happy after all this.
Thank you. Yeah. And by the way, I have no beef with. Somebody could turn those comments into like, "Oh, Lahna said this stuff about Joey." I have no beef with Joey. Like, when I forgave Ralphie and I got to the point where I was able to grieve Ralphie, I felt like I took a giant boulder off of me, because I was really angry at myself for holding on to like hard feelings with Ralphie. And I don't want this to get into a sappy like therapy session, but it felt like people like Joey and some of the enablers and people in their lives were like the pebbles in my pocket that had done hurtful things, but I was still carrying the weight of them. And I have to like let go of all that. Like, I don't care. Like, it doesn't bother me. I don't want to care. Like, I don't, you know what I mean? And I don't know. It's not important to me, and I hope the best for all of them, really, because it doesn't matter. Whatever their problems are that brought them to the dark place to do, like, to say mean things or do something as gross as try and make me look at his dick, that's on him, not on me. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I just that is outside my ballpark, kind of. So I would never do that ever, even if it was someone that I. But you just did let something slip that I want to stop and go back
Okay.
to. You forgave Ralphie. So you had a moment where you lifted all the grief and all the guilt and all not, or the anger.
Yeah.
How did that go about?
How did I get to that point? I thought
Yeah,
I'd
and what
never-
was it like, and when was it? How long did it take you?
It was recently. I thought I'd never get there. I took the kids over in December to Patagonia. We hiked to the W Trail. And August and I were in the middle of the trail. And April had gone hiking off with some other girls that we were with, and she could drink at 18. And so she wanted to get to the camp so she could have a beer. And I was cool, just go. And then August and I continued up the middle of the mountains. And it was so crazy. We were so tired. We just walked so many miles, and there's like glaciers booming and falling, and it's quiet. And August said something to me, and it hit me. I felt like my brain cracked open, and I started to cry, and I grieved so much in that quiet place. I could cry right now saying it.
I'm getting teared up, damn it.
Yeah. Yeah, it makes me. I hadn't actually ever grieved his loss because I had so much work all those years just raising the kids and getting through the mess that was the probate and if anybody's ever lost somebody and been given the responsibility of managing their estate, it is a lot of work. And there was no actual cash left when Ralphie died. In fact, there was a lot of debt. So I had a huge responsibility, and I think I was just going, trying to like make sure that my kids were okay and that we didn't lose our house and that we could stay in our lives. And it really wasn't until very recently, and that's when I knew for sure I could get through releasing this film and talking to you and all these people.
Where did all the money go? Like it did. He was always on the road. Where what was it? Was the money spent on drugs and food? Because he was on the road forever. He was like, didn't he really start the whole on the road comedian thing? Like, I don't remember people touring like he did before anybody else.
I mean, he spent it. I mean, I was cut out the last year, so I wasn't present for it. I did try and find out if he had like a secret account, which to this day I believe there was a secret account that he shared with one of the people in the film. I don't know factually, I just have always thought that, but I could never track it down because there was texts and stuff that went out that were like talked about money that I never saw it in and out of the account.
Yeah.
So I don't know. I don't know how to answer that because
A secret account in somebody else's name that he gave it to them. Isn't that something you could trace? Isn't that trackable?
well, not if I don't have the account number or know what bank or anything like. I could never figure that part out. But no, I mean, there were a lot of people with their hands in his pocket. I mean, when I got to my house in Nashville after he had passed, there were a lot of items missing from the house too. Somebody, like, I know who, but there were people that went in there. And so I wrote an autobiographical book to come out with the film because I can tell these stories in more detail in the book that I can't tell in the film. But yeah, people were really after, like, they weren't there for him. They were there for what he could provide. So yeah.
How did you fix that situation if he left you credit card debt with no money? How did you handle that?
So we had some assets. Like, I was very, very lucky. We had the second house in Nashville, which had made money. So I was able to sell that. And that paid off my debt. And then I had enough between selling the house and then getting Social Security that my goal at that time was to stay in my house in LA for 2 more years so that I could get August through elementary school, and then I was going to move to Florida and be close to my parents and then just try and figure out how to rebuild my life. But I figured out in the years that followed, I was able to, through the process of making this documentary, I was starting to get back his content because he also didn't own his specials. And I started streaming them online. So when you guys watch his content online, it aggregates finance. And that really helped get through this time and also build the documentary. So, which is also right now just, all of this touring with it, it's not profitable. It's all about just trying to get the message
Really?
out.
Well, I was thinking about that because you got to pay someone to drive. The gas costs money. The maintenance costs money. You got to stay at a hotel room. How much do you really get a night at a comedy club for one night? How much after you break it all the way down? What's the profit line with all this traveling and all that shit?
Yeah, you mean for with the tour bus and all that?
Yeah, like I know those things aren't cheap. That you got to maintain them. You got to the gas must be a couple of G's to just fill it up, especially these days. But that's another story.
Yeah.
But
No, it's expensive. Yeah, no, that you do the math on something, but then if you also have like a team of people around you, that makes it really, really expensive. So
how much would he
yeah.
get? How much would a comic like at his height get? Because he would do one night here, one night there. What was his price for getting one night at a sold out comedy club?
Oh, a lot. He was well paid for stand up. Yeah, he was
Yeah.
well paid. But I mean, look, it doesn't matter how much you make if you have people, like in spending and yeah, it's hard for me to answer though what was going on at the end of his life there. I know that we were entangled too, to be like we were in a divorce too, so I wasn't, he'd emptied my accounts and cut me out of all of it, so I was just trying to raise kids and I didn't have the ability to pay for anything at all at that time. I mean, it was tough, and that's why I was really hurt by him, because he didn't need to do all that, but I think he just wasn't in the state of mind that you would want him to be in.
Yeah,
So
drugs will do that. So
I
anonymous.
hate thinking about that time. I really do. It's a bummer because it's not him. It's not the person that I married. You'd see it in the film. I just want people to see the film because it really answers a lot of the questions, and I don't want to vilify him because I think he was sick.
You can see that he was like he was physically uncomfortable, not just because of his size, but there was something else going on. You could see that,
Yeah, no, it's true.
and he was nodding out, and I've seen that nod out before, and I know what that is. That's an oxy or whatever. I'm not saying he was doing heroin, but basically, oxy is heroin, and you just nodding out in the middle of a conversation is a telltale sign.
Yeah.
So, Anonymous wants to know if you think Joe Rogan should ban Joey for his sex crimes.
No, I don't think people should be banned for things. I mean, I know they're friends too. I mean,
Do you know Joe Rogan?
I do. I've met Joe. He's one of the first comics I ever opened for. So, yeah. I think he's amazing, like hilarious, and he's really brilliant. He seems like just the jock, but he's so brilliant. Obviously, he is. He's one of the number one podcasters in the world, right? So.
Do you think he'd have you on?
I would love to be on. I don't know. I know he loved Ralphie. I hope he talks about the film when he sees it. I think he will want to because loved Ralphie, and he loves comedy, and I don't think there's a more honest documentary about comedy and addiction that's ever been made. And I can say that as part of making the film, but I think you would agree with it having seen it. There's nothing really out there like this.
No, there's not.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, it was weird too because I didn't realize that. What's the running time on that? Because I really didn't realize that it was that long because you're that
a little
riveted to
long.
what's going on the screen.
Yeah, it's a little bit more than 2 hours, and I always say we tried to make it 90 minutes, but we couldn't fit Ralphie into 90 minutes. He's too big.
You couldn't fit Ralphie into anything.
Yeah, he was too big. So, look, his story, Ralphie never did one thing, right? It's 3 pizzas. We pay for 4 tombstones. We get 2. There's never, ever anything small about Ralphie. So we've got a 2-part. It's really intended to stream as a 2-part series because it's really 2 things. It's a biopic and a documentary, and we've merged them into one. But I'm glad you didn't feel the runtime. I don't think you do. I think you get caught up in the story, and And but I don't think 2 hours is long either anymore for a film. So
And also, and you felt like Ralphie was narrating his own documentary
yeah, no,
in a way where, it was kind of like you for a good part of it, you felt like he was still here.
no, he left the story behind. So as his wife and as a filmmaker, I felt like it was really important to honor what he left in the footage and allow him to tell his story as he allowed it to be filmed. Because a lot of people would shy away from it. I mean, you watch most biopics, they don't go into the demons that the person had. They want to just keep it celebratory, which is more normal. But Ralphie told this part of his life and left it for everyone to see. And I know he wanted to help other people, and that's the end goal. I do think this will help other people. After the Vegas screening, 3 heavyset men, maybe this is the answers the earlier question of them coming up to me. But they all stayed after to talk to me about their food addiction. And
Okay.
yeah, and I it was quite moving, and I just said, there's all different ways to deal with your demons, and but you got to deal with them. And I said, maybe you could go lift heavy weight and try and get out whatever you're feeling inside in a constructive way that can still be, that treats your body healthy, but I don't know.
Has Ralphie visited you in your sleep?
I feel him sometimes. I definitely felt him at the premiere and at some of these screenings. I feel like he's there somehow. I definitely have ghost stories, so I do believe that there's an energy that stays. I felt him in the house. I do feel him sometimes. I felt him driving home from gigs, because that was the thing we would do a lot, sitting in the seat next to me and just sort of have that moment where we talk about the show.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I only ask that question is because I've had that happen to me throughout my life, where I would have a dream and my grandfather would be in it, and it was so real. And he didn't say anything, but I kept asking, "Where did you go?" Because I felt that he was here. And then when I told one of my aunts that story, she was like, "Oh my God, he did that. He's come to me in my dreams as well. We had the same experience." And then she unfortunately passed away about 3 months later, and about 6 months later, she came to me in a dream and said, "Everybody's watching you," and I just think that sometimes for years when my grandfather came to me in my dream, I didn't understand it until I spoke to my aunt when she had the same experience. So sometimes when you do have someone that passed in a dream, it's them in your dream. And I really, truly believe that. That's why I asked, have you ever had a dream where you're like, "Oh my God, Ralphie, what's up?"
I haven't woken up from a dream with it, but I've felt him with me. And I've had that experience too with other people who've passed away, where I've felt like they were there with me. And yeah, no, I do believe that there's an energy, and we don't understand what happens to us when we go. So I don't know that we ever really leave each other. It's a beautiful thought.
Yeah, no, it was just my aunt specifically, when she came to me in my dream, I was dreaming I was having a threesome. And then she interrupted the threesome, so I knew it was my Aunt Karen. I was like, of course you interrupted a threesome.
Wait, she interrupted it? Did she didn't want to be a part of it?
In my dream, I was like, I had 2 girls with me. It was one of those awesome dreams that would never happen. And then all of a sudden, Aunt Karen popped up in a really weird dress, because she never wore a dress. She had it was so vivid, Lahna. She had a green velvet dress on with the shoulders cut off, and it had silver tinsel around the open shoulders and red tinsel around the edge of the velvet green dress. And my aunt had these beautiful big blue eyes. And I said, "Aunt Karen, you're here." And she just said, "You like my dress?" And she it was so vivid. I still remember it. And she goes, "Do you like my dress?" And she spun it around, and I was like, "You just interrupted a threesome." She goes, "I know." I swear to God. So I have relatives and people that have passed come to me in my dreams, and you think you're dreaming, but I think you need to acknowledge the fact that it's actually them, because it's not like you're having a dream that happened. They're present in your dream, and I believe that very much so.
Did you go back to the threesome when you're like, okay,
No, it was
my
gone. She
sister,
ruined it. She ruined the whole thing. Someone has a question
Damn
for
it,
you.
Karen.
Is this man handsome? This is from Anonymous. A $5 question. Mr. Turner, do you think this man is handsome?
Well, that's a good $5 question.
Yeah.
So
I gotta take that down. I can't stand looking at that.
I loved Ralphie. I said I'm not a chubby chaser, okay?
No. Did the person that
Yeah.
was in the picture, do you think that person's handsome?
I don't know. I don't know. They
Hold
were.
on.
Is that the dude that's writing the comment?
No, that's Stuttering John.
Oh, is that Stuttering John in the picture?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, they want to know if you think he's handsome.
I thought we weren't gonna shut on Stuttering John.
I know. Well, if they're gonna pay me, if they're gonna pay me to talk about him, then I'll talk about him. There's
Okay,
another one.
perfect.
This is Attila429. Huge fan of Ralphie. Saw him many times. Did Ralphie ever consider surgery like Lavelle Crawford? Another favorite comedian was also very heavy. Thanks.
Did Lavelle lose all the weight? I haven't seen him in so many years. Look, Ralphie had 2 stomach surgeries. He had stapling before I met him, and then he had gastric bypass while we were together. And when we embarked on the 9-month documentary that's part of this footage, it was intended to be a documentary. I very much disagreed with him doing this, but he wanted to get the lap band. Didn't end up qualifying for it. And but we were going to film his journey through lap band. And that's how we ended up with all this footage. So yes, he did have, and it didn't work. He ate around the surgery and vomited a lot, and it's pretty gross. But yeah, so you gotta. I didn't know Lavelle had lost all the weight. That's really cool.
Oh, Colin, $5 question from Colin Madden. Besides your aunt, did you desire to have relations with any other Grillo family members? You got to take these questions, you know.
Yeah, that's a $5 question. I love that.
Yeah. So what this is so nice. I'm having a great time, but do you have to go or anything, or do you want to stick around and ask her questions?
I'm cool.
Okay, I don't want to keep you because this is just so nice of you to come on my show and talk about all this.
It's so nice of you to have me on and talk about it. And there's a lot to unpack. We could talk about it all day, truly. Like, it's a lot for, I mean, I hope, I really want people to know about the film and come out and see it. And yeah, so no, it's my pleasure.
Have you sent it to Jay Leno?
Jay seen it, yeah.
He did?
Yeah, because, Jay was going to come to the second screening in LA, and he wanted to watch the film. But unfortunately, his wife is quite ill right now, and so leaving at it to come out for a 9 p.m. Q&A was a little too much for him that week. We talked for a very long time about the film, and he really liked it. And in fact, he did the coolest shout out and told my son, he's like, he should do comedy. He's really, really funny. I was like, when Jay Leno tells you to do something, you might want to consider it. But I don't really want August doing stand up, But yeah, no, Jay's great. He's the sweetest.
I've met him, and I met him a couple of times, and he was just, hey, yeah, how you doing? Let's see you again.
Yeah.
He's like, and everything about him seems like, even if you hear the stories about his salary and what he did for his employees at the Tonight Show, it just goes to show you that he is definitely that real person. He
is so real. When I first asked him to do the interview for the film, he gave me his personal cell phone number. Just give me a call. So I called him the next day, and he picks up and he's like, I'm under the sink. I'm fixing my plumbing. And I was like, oh, he goes, I'll call you tomorrow. Okay, well, I figured, all right, I'm probably not going to hear back from Jay Leno. I guess they just, and literally called me back the next day. I was on the toilet when he called. I was I better answer this. So I booked Jay Leno's interview from the toilet. He was fixing his plumbing. I was using mine. But yeah.
And any chance of you going back to stand up?
Oh, I do stand up all the time still. Yeah, I did.
Oh, you do? Okay.
Last night. Yeah. Stand up. So for me, stand up has always been like the thing I love more than, I just love it so much, but not more than raising my kids. I can't go on the road all these years and really, really percolate I had to stay local. So I do spots, but now with the film coming out and my daughter's going to college and my son's being, he's 16, I look forward to doing more touring and doing more stand-up.
Did she pick a college? She's all set where she's going?
UC Irvine.
Oh wow. And
Yeah.
she's gonna dorm and everything like that, or is she gonna stay home?
Yep. No, she's gonna. She's still very connected to my umbilical cord from her side. I also want to keep her close, but she's very much wants to be, but I'm like, you have to go far enough away to where you get your independence. And, but, if you need to come home and see me and the dog and the cat, and you can still do it without having, too much trouble. So, yeah.
So no plans to go to Florida?
For April, right now?
Well, I'm just saying. You said you wanted to move back to be closer to your parents.
Oh, I didn't want to. I didn't
Okay.
want to at all. I wanted to stay in LA. I wanted to stay in my house, but I didn't think I'd be able to. There was no way back then that I was like going to know how I could afford to stay. But I got, there's a couple of really good things I did at that time. When I sold the house in Nashville, I had $300,000 of credit card debt because it was insane. And like an $80,000 probate, all that landed on me after Ralphie passed away. So, pretty much everything that I earned, like when the neighborhood had changed that we bought the house in Nashville. So it pretty much doubled in value, that house. So I was able to pay off all that debt. And when I called the credit card to pay it off, I had that thought of, well, maybe I should negotiate this debt. And which probably would have been smart at the time. But I was like, no, it's my debt. I owe this money. And I paid it off, all of it. And I think the person on the other end of the phone was like, what the hell? But I just
nobody
did.
does this.
Nobody does that. But what ended up being really cool about that decision was like very shortly thereafter, interest rates were very low. It was just like, it wasn't, we were into the pandemic by then and everyone was refinancing. And because I had clean credit, I refinanced my house and my payments became very low. So that really helped me stay in my house. So while the initial brunt of paying off a debt sucked and probably wasn't the best move at the time, it really ended up creating a situation where I could stay in my house a lot longer and be able to afford it. Like I think just by trying to be honest and do the right thing, things hopefully come back full circle. But it's too ideal to think that way. But that's just one story that I look back on and I was like, okay, I'm really glad I did that because that was the right thing to do.
Yeah, I know what the burden of debt is, and there's nothing better than when you feel you get out of debt.
Yeah.
And I can understand why you were just like, if I have the money, I just want it gone because it'll keep you up at night.
Yeah, well, so yeah, I'm very lucky that I was able to get out from under that. Like I do believe I'm a lucky person, and I say it a lot because I think the more you say it, the more you've put out to the world, and so. Yeah, but I was able to stay. I never wanted to move to Florida. It wouldn't have been horrible. I like Florida, but I mean, I didn't want to live there, and it was just to be close to my parents because I thought I'm gonna have to raise 2 children by myself,
Yeah, that's
never
fun.
and not be able to afford to do it. So.
Anonymous wants to know, should Joey apologize to the dozens of young female comics he Me Too'd for stage time?
I mean.
I'm not sure what he.
Yeah, I don't. He's talked about it himself. He paints himself into these corners. I don't follow Joey very closely, so I don't know, but I have heard. And I know he got in trouble. I know there was something that happened a couple of years ago where he got in trouble for a story he told about. I mean, I also know that he kidnapped and spent time in prison. I mean, he's had a very sordid life, right?
I don't know much about him. I got to be honest. I know. I heard he's real funny. Someone said something funny. I'll put this one up. Never mind the debt. She was lucky to get out from under Ralphie.
Oh. I don't know about that one. These are tough questions for me to answer. I mean, I think people should always apologize when they've hurt people. I think that's the least you can do. So, yeah, I mean, and as far as out from under Ralphie, I wish that Ralphie had made different choices in his life because then he'd still be here making us all laugh.
That's true.
So, yeah.
All right, well, there's nobody else that's going to say something nice on this fucking thing. I can't believe it.
Well, we started off, somebody asked a question about, which is part of the podcast that Joey put out about the tombstones. That was really hurtful because somebody asked that question. So I haven't talked about it yet since the film came out. I've actually never really had a chance to talk about what happened. So if you really want to know, whoever asked that question, when Ralphie passed away, his mother asked if she could handle everything for his burial. I handled the cremation. She wanted him in the cemetery. She wanted to do his stone and have him there. And so, of course, like, I love Sue Ann. She's in the film, and she's always been very good to me, and I've always had a close relationship with her. And so she gave money to Ralphie's brother, and Ralphie's brother has always had sticky fingers, and he's in the film. And sadly, he passed away a couple years ago. Diabetes got the better of him. But she gave him some money. He didn't use it. And she gave him some more money. He didn't use it for the tombstone, I should say. And the second stone she purchased through him didn't get purchased either. So that's 2 tombstones that were paid for. As we're hedging up on a year. By the way, you don't have to put a tombstone on a grave for 1 year. And you also, in cold climates like Arkansas, it's not advisable because you need to wait for the soil to settle because they have to go through a winter season. So I called Sue Ann and I said, look, I don't think Winston's going to get this stone. Can I do it? And she gave me permission. So I called the place in Arkansas, and the woman answered and asked me if I was buying a stone. She had guessed she'd had a call right before mine about a tombstone for a baby, because she's like, are you the one wanting the baby stone? That was like, no. But anyways, I got the stone and had the epitaph, and I gave it to Sue Ann to approve and started the process of having it made. And then I found out that another stone that wasn't the one I bought had been placed on his grave. And I was rather heartbroken, and I called Sue Ann, and she was crying. She was so upset that somebody had defaced his grave. And I could never find out who it was who did it. I've had 4, let's see, I guess like Joey had these 2 brothers that claimed to do it. There was conversation that Joey had done it. There's a guy in Arkansas who owns a barbecue place there who would go by Dirty Sanchez on Twitter, that was a friend of Ralphie's, but also would send Ralphie drugs through the mail, claimed to do it. Then I heard that maybe a group of people had done it. So I've never had a clear answer on who put that stone there, but I was really sad. And then my boyfriend said to me, look, just put your stone on there too. He'll have 2 tombstones. It's perfect. It's like his second seat on an airplane.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah, his second pizza. So we put 2 stones on there. And then that podcast came out where they said things about me where I refused to buy Ralphie a headstone. They said that I told Ralphie to take his own life. They said things that were just like outrageous, that were so hurtful, that I called a lawyer and I said, this is like awful and it's defamation, but what are you going to do? Like sue people? And like, I'm not going to. So people got this impression and believe it. And I'm like, okay, whatever. Like, what am I going to do? So it's not true.
I didn't realize there was such a big controversy about his headstone.
It's not a big controversy. I shouldn't even. One of the thing about not talking about something is it doesn't fan the flames. Right now, it's a conversation again. But people want to know that's the story. And
yeah, but that's for you and his family and your kids. That's something that you guys have. That here's the way I see things. I have a friend that always goes to visit his mom at the cemetery. And I always say, you can visit your mom anywhere you want. Yeah. But if it makes you feel good to go to the cemetery, then that's fine, if that's how you like to do it. But, the headstone and everything, I just think that their spirit doesn't care about a headstone. Their spirit doesn't mind if you don't go to the grave. Do you know? Like, they're on another plane that those things don't matter to them anymore.
I agree. One, I don't think Ralphie's there. I don't think Ralphie would have wanted to be. I actually know Ralphie wouldn't have wanted to be in Arkansas and Clarksville. That wasn't his place. But his mother wanted him there. And I do believe that it's more about the living than at that point. Yeah. It's just his physical remains. So if she wanted something, that there was no question she was going to get what she wants. And I'm not going to sprinkle him on comedy stages. Instead, I'm going to take his film and we're going to celebrate his life.
A little hole in your pocket, shake your leg on stage,
He's going to end up in the vacuum cleaner. Like, this isn't the right thing. But yeah, like this is the way I believe by doing what we're doing now, we're honoring him and we're doing the right thing. Oh, does your aunt have a good body?
Yeah, call him that. I want to know my aunt got a good body. Well, not anymore.
Hey, she had a pretty green dress and what did you say? Beautiful blue eyes.
Oh yeah, man, Karen had
Yeah.
beautiful blue eyes.
And she liked to mess up a good threesome.
Yeah. Would you pose nude for Playboy if the money was good?
Are they asking me or you?
Not me.
Is posing for Playboy even a thing now? Dude, you're like that's like. I think that's an OnlyFans question. Like,
Yeah. All right, change it to would you do OnlyFans if the money was right? Everybody's doing it now. I just saw a bunch of people like Drea De Matteo had saved her house and her career, and
she's a neighbor up here. She like her kid went to school with my kid. She's stunning. And I know she
I worked with her.
Stunning, really nice lady too. And yeah, I know I read that she's no. I mean, I don't have a problem with people doing it. I haven't done it, but maybe I don't know. Would you pay money to see pictures of my feet? I told April, I said, dude, it's for you all this money to go to college to get an art degree. Just post your feet. Just
yeah.
You could literally make more money than. Of course, I was joking, but like yeah.
Yeah. So now these people are focused on my fucking story about my aunt visiting me in a dream.
Well, I mean, that's a pretty good story.
Yeah, I know. Well, all right. You know what? I'm gonna let you go because it's a Saturday and you sound like there's a party going on outside. So I'd let anybody know where they can follow you and how they can keep track of what town you're going to.
Yeah. Okay. Please go on my Instagram, whatever social platform you're on, and follow me, Lahna Turner. I see there's an H in Lahna. Otherwise, backwards my name spells anal. So you can follow me on social media because I post funny stuff on there. This wasn't a super hilarious interview, but I'll come to your town and play like funny songs about dick, and then and other stuff, and then you can you can find out more information about the film. It's comewhatmayfilm.com, but I'm also posting on social. We were posting on Ralphie's site, so go to Ralphie May on Facebook or Instagram, and you can find out where we're going to be.
One last obnoxious anonymous question:
oh.
Did Ralphie ever beg for anal?
Well, yeah.
What guy doesn't?
That's going to open up a whole nother conversation. That was a question that was earlier. That was that maybe that's a conversation for another podcast. That's like,
yeah, I know. Okay, but like I said, you didn't have to answer them. But
yeah, I mean, you paid $3. That's like that's if you paid $3 for a question. But that's a longer conversation for another day. But I mean, that was always. I mean, look, that's a scary situation for me to be put in. I mean, he's big, like he didn't always have the best balance.
Well, he was an athlete, wasn't he? He said he was a good dancer and shit like that.
I mean, he could have been. My son is really athletic, and he didn't get it from me. Like August can do anything with a ball and a bat or a stick. I can't. So he probably got that from Ralphie. But yeah, I mean, Ralphie was strong. He carried that weight around.
Yeah.
But, yeah.
All right. Well, no more stupid questions from the super tips. But thank you so much. What about your book? Is your book out yet?
Oh yeah, I forgot to bring the comic book with me, which is so bad. I gave you one, right?
You gave me one, yeah, but it's I'm at the studio. It's at my.
Oh, I forgot to talk about the comic book, guys. I wrote this book. So Ralphie and I had a conversation like ages ago. He played a superhero. On a commercial when we first met, and he said, I always wanted to be a superhero. And we had this like quick conversation, and he's like, I was like, well, what would we call him? And we decided on Superman, and then and then I said, well, how would you get your powers? And he said I would have an accident with a microwavable burrito, and that was the end of the conversation. So I took those two thoughts and I wrote the book Pounds of Power. It's a 4-part comic book series. The first one is available right now, and it just went out distribution to like little comic book stores. But you can also buy the special edition book that I'm taking with me on the road right now. It's a foil. They call it a foil because the cover is kind of unique.
No, it's a good looking comic book.
Yeah, and it's a lot of fun, and it's one of the first, if not only, fat superheroes. Because what is fat? It's stored energy. So if you can burn that and use it for power, is what Johnny does in the book, and I'm really, really proud of those books, and so you can buy that at poundsofpower.com, and then like you can also get them when I'm on the road with them doing this tour. I'm bringing them with me, so Yeah.
Yep.
I wish I could show it to you because the art is so
Well, you know
good.
what? You want to give me 1 second? Hold on. This is why I love my new setup. Hold on a second. I'm going to look at my bag. I might still have it in my bag. I thought I took it out.
I wish
Hold
I
on 1
had one
second.
with me because I
Hold
usually
on.
had one. At,
Okay.
Hey,
Oh, there you
there you
go.
go.
Thank you very much,
Yay.
Mystery Man.
That's it.
That's my guy.
Johnny.
Yeah.
That's Johnny with his burrito. And the flying rats were part of the experiment. So they're fat rats who have superpowers too. And
That's
so,
pretty
yeah.
cool.
Yeah, no, it's really I'm really proud of it, and I think Ralphie would have been really proud to finally have seen this come out because it was something I did for like I worked on it through the process of finishing the film because it took so long to finish the film. So, yeah. So that's the
Yeah.
other thing, and then as far as the autobiographical book, I also have been working on that. So that'll come out when the film streams, which will have a lot of the stories that we've talked about here today in more detail. And things I couldn't include in the film.
Did you ever think about doing it just like a pay-per-view where they can go to watch it off of a say a secure site?
Yeah, no, that's in the works too. So right now we're just doing the theatrical, but yeah, you can sign up for updates for the film as well on the film website. So when we do something like that, you can definitely sit in on that. Yeah.
When you do, please let me know because I'd love to have you back on.
Okay.
And one last, did Ralphie have a huge penis?
Oh
From
no.
anonymous. You don't have to answer that.
That's the
You don't
last
have-
question.
Yeah, that is the last question.
Wouldn't
On that note.
wouldn't it be wild if it was like as big as he was?
It would make things easier, no?
No, I mean that would be like. I mean, he was like at one time he was 800 pounds. Can you imagine?
Oh my word.
Yeah.
No,
Yeah.
I couldn't
that would-
imagine.
Then he definitely wouldn't have been able to get up off the couch.
Yeah. So, but all right. Thank you so much for joining me. I really enjoyed this very much, and I'm so glad I got to meet you. You're really awesome.
You're really awesome. I'm so glad you came, and thank you for spreading the word. I look forward to seeing everyone in the chat show up and say, "Hey, we saw you," and
Yeah.
and
So, but
enjoy the film.
If there's anything I can do to help out with anything, please don't ever hesitate to call and ask.
Awesome. Well, I look forward to seeing you next time.
Yep. Thank
when
you
I'm
so
in
much.
town. Yeah. Thank you.
All right.
Thank you, guys. Thanks for all the questions.
Yeah. Most of them anyway.
Most of them. Some of the creepy ones, but that's
Have
okay.
a great weekend, everybody.
You too.
Bye.
Thanks, guys.